Hey guys, welcome to another video on this channel. Today I'm going to be going through how to achieve A star in IGCSE Chemistry. I made a fairly similar video 2 years ago about how to achieve A star in IGCSE Biology, but this is for the people that don't take biology but do take chemistry. A lot of the things that I talked about in that video actually cross over to this one, but without further ado, we'll begin. So I've organized it into 3 key steps, right? The first step is to understand important, relevant concepts. I've highlighted the word relevant because at all times when you're revising or you're studying, you need to make sure that the information that you are learning is actually important for the course. The way you can tell that is to follow your syllabus at all times, because the syllabus is literally there to tell you what is required of you to know and what is not required of you to know, right? So don't fall into the trap of memorizing all these things, understanding all these concepts that you don't need to know, because that's obviously you're just wasting your time. Now, once you've understood the concepts, you can start to memorize the information in a bit more detail. Now, make sure you don't do this the other way around. If you don't understand the concepts, then there's no real point in you trying to memorize it, because that's all you're doing is rote learning, and that doesn't stick. You need to be able to understand the concepts, and memorizing that becomes a whole lot easier. Once you've done that, then you can start to reinforce your knowledge, which is the most important step in this 3-step process. This is really what separates someone from an A to an A star. Okay, so this is really important. So we'll just go through each of these steps one by one. The first step is to understand the concepts, right? So you need to have, or you need to build a conceptual foundation regarding the topic that you're studying. So, you can sort of do that by watching YouTube videos, revision guides, classic textbooks, or even through your teachers, friends, whatnot. But you need to be able to understand what you're trying to learn. Okay, so if you do that properly, then you should be able to comfortably explain certain concepts, whether it's on paper or verbally, to other people, because that assures that you are understanding what you're talking about. Okay, so there's obviously a big difference between understanding a concept and memorizing the detail. Okay, the understanding the concept part is just basically sort of knowing the skeletal structure of the topic. Okay, so once you have that covered, once you've got the skeleton covered, then you can start to look into the meat of the topic, right? So that's when the memorization comes in, because you're going to be looking at the concepts in a bit more detail, and you can start to memorize, okay, what it's saying in the textbook or revision guide or whatnot. So here, the effective studying is key. So by effective studying, it just means attempting to minimize the time but maximize the gain in knowledge. And so, certain things that can help you memorize things would be, writing revision notes in your own words, obviously, flashcards, visual learning. I mean, some people learn better by listening to things. Whatever works best for you, just use it so that you're studying effectively and you're memorizing things to a point where it's actually sticking in your brain rather than just sort of slipping out. So whatever works for you, use it, but don't get too caught up in this step of memorization. So you'll never be able to memorize 100% of the information, because we're human, we're not robots, and that's okay. Too many people get caught up in this step and they fail to make it to step 3, which is, as I said, the most important step. So basically, just try to attempt to memorize maybe 80 to 90% of the information, and then you're sweet. That's fine. Just note down, your weaknesses, your weak areas, and once you do that, that's okay. Just move on to step 3. Okay, so step 3 is reinforcing your knowledge, right? So you're applying all the concepts and the details that you've learnt into a practical approach, which is past papers. You need to give yourself sufficient time to go through all the recent past papers before your final external exams. I roughly set myself 4 to 5 weeks, okay? 4 to 5 weeks just to solve past papers. So before then, I would have gone through all the concepts, gone through all the memorization, and I'd be ready to solve some past papers. Now, printing it out physically is a lot more effective than solving it on screen. So make sure you actually print it out so that you can write on the actual paper. Now solve and mark your answers, or solve and mark the question paper as if it was a real exam. Now, if the normal multi-choice exam, for example, is an hour long, then you want to give yourself around 45 minutes to solve it. So, whatever the length of the actual exam is, because this is a practice exam, you should really be trying to save some time and also trying to solve it as quickly as possible. So train yourself to sort of finish the paper 15 to 20 minutes earlier than the actual scheduled time. So what that means is when you actually go into a real exam, then you're sort of you've prepped yourself to solve the questions faster so that you don't ever run out of time, because that is the worst possible scenario. That's really bad, right? So train yourself to solve the questions faster. That's my point. So, write down, when you're marking your answers, okay, so write down the correct keywords and phrases in the areas where you lost marks, okay? Now, also, write down any sort of extra keywords and phrases that you could have written, but you didn't. So, a lot of questions usually have like 2 or 3, for example, a question might have 2 marks possible, but the marking scheme actually gives you 4 or 5 possible answers. So you would have written 2. Even if you got those correct, make sure you write the other 3 possible answers or alternate answers that you could have used to get the marks. So that's the good thing about Cambridge or CIE exams. They always have more answers than what is required for you to get the full marks in the question. Now lastly, as you solve the papers, one of the good things about past papers is that you can actually figure out where the areas of weaknesses lie. So, as you're solving the questions, if you find a pattern of, conceptual weakness, highlight that so that you can actually work on that separately by, revising, doing some extra revision on that specific topic and things like that. So I just want to sort of go through in a bit more detail why past papers are so effective. So first of all, it raises awareness of certain keywords and phrases that CIE wants you to write in certain questions of certain topics, right? So this allows you to formulate really concise and effective answers in a real examination setting. So you're not, spending all your time waffling. You know what to write because you know that Cambridge likes these sort of, keywords or phrases, and you know what they are because you've solved enough past papers. It also highlights areas of strength and weaknesses, as we've talked about before, so this allows you to waste less time by focusing your efforts on topics that you're weak in rather than what you're strong in, so that you're revising effectively. The other importance of past papers is that it reinforces your knowledge by applying them in a practical manner. Okay, so by applying your knowledge in the questions, it just allows you to either sort of be aware that you really know what you're doing by getting the question correct, or if you don't get it correct, as we talked about before, you'll be writing down the correct answers that the marking scheme wants you to write down. So as you do that, you're actually memorizing and learning at the same time, so that the next time a similar question comes up, you'll most likely remember what you got wrong the last time and you'll apply this new knowledge. So therefore it reinforces your knowledge continuously as you solve the past papers. Another reason that I love past papers also is that it's so much less tedious, okay, when you're studying, because just sitting down and reading a textbook or a revision guide or your old notes can be quite boring. So that's just another thing. But overall, I hope this helped you guys. Thank you for watching. Please visit freeexamacademy.com for comprehensive IGCSE chemistry notes. I've just been working on that website for a couple of months now. But otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.